So I want to start this afternoon's talk by doing a cartwheel. Are you ready? I'm gonna do a cartwheel. Here we go. 1, 2. Now just I'm not gonna do a cartwheel. Just the moment I said cartwheel, all of you were like, you were looking at your laptops and they're like, yes. But see, that's the point I also kind of want to drive in to this talk this afternoon. That whenever I do something like this, I have to earn your attention so that you can listen to me. And I'm going to emphasize the word earn in that particular context. But I want to start by showing you a picture of me when I was your age, right? So when I look at a picture like this, I can't help but have mixed emotions. This was me in first year college. And when I look back at my college years, yes, it was mostly happy, but there were parts of it where I felt like I didn't fully live up to my potential. And I know that that was a part of my life where I was also dealing with a lot of insecurity. And whenever I would look at a picture like this, sometimes the insecurities of the past creep back into the present. But why is that? Because maybe I'm looking at this photo from a mentality where I feel like I have to earn the life that I want to live. You know, they say that the theme of this particular TED Talk series is bridging the gap. And I think if there's one big gap that we're all trying to bridge, it's the gap between the self we want to be and the self we are now. And how can you tell where you are in terms of the process of being the person you want to be? I think this is a good question to start with. And the question is, well, how have you been looking at yourself lately? Now, I want to start by talking to you about two kinds of looking. There's this thing called watching, and there's this thing called seeing. There's watching, and there's seeing. I know sometimes you kind of use them interchangeably, but you're going to see this afternoon that they're actually very, very different. Now, what do I mean by watching? Watching means looking with the eyes of consumption. I mean, we do that every day. You're probably even doing it right now in your seats. That when you're not looking at the stage, you're probably looking at your phone, scrolling through TikTok, and looking up the thousands of makeup tutorials that you probably consume every day. Now, I have nothing bad to say about watching, because again, in a social media saturated world such as our world now, watching is pretty much understandable. It's the order of the day. Our economies pretty much run on that whole idea of us watching. But you see, everybody, we reduce each other and we reduce ourselves to content every time we default into a mentality of watching. Yes, you watch reels. Yes, you watch TikTok videos. Yes, you watch YouTube videos. But then it becomes different when we start watching each other or looking at each other as if we were just content. You know, my friend who's in the social media industry tells me that a TikTok reel has on average 4 seconds to prove to you that it's worth watching. If they can't show that in 4 seconds, it's gone. It's useless. You can throw it away. That's the thing about a watching mentality. If it doesn't earn your attention, you can throw it away. When you look at yourself, when we look at ourselves, do we take on a watching mentality? Where when we look at ourselves in the mirror, whether it's a real mirror or a metaphorical mirror, do you begin to not like what you see and reject yourself within 4 seconds? But seeing is different. Because while watching sees with the eyes of consumption, seeing is about looking with the eyes of compassion. And you see, whenever I say compassion, I know some of you might be turned off by that idea. It might sound very pious and very religious, something that you hear maybe every single day and you kind of take for granted. But what I really mean by compassion is, that's the thing that you want to get whenever you're struggling in this life and you want your friends to treat you in this particular way. This is the thing that you want your family and your friends to give you when you're struggling. Maybe this is also the thing that you want to give yourself when you're struggling. Seeing is a little bit more intentional. When it comes to watching, you really just go with your gut. You really just go with what you feel at the moment. But seeing means having to kind of go beyond your gut a little bit and to look at something, perceive something from your principles or from your values, that sort of thing. You see, everybody, seeing enables you to look more accurately and fully without letting your biases get in the way. Because again, when you watch something, immediately you're looking at it from the filter of your own biases. I love food videos. I love dog videos. If it's not cute, if it's not yummy, or if it's not going to teach me how to put mascara on properly, skip. But again, maybe the invitation to bridge the gap is about learning how to go beyond looking at things from the perspective of your preferences and just seeing things as they are. That's hard for us to do, but what will motivate you to do it? The fact that you want people to see you as they are. I remember in one of my favorite movies, but many of you weren't born when this was out, this movie called The Joy Luck Club. I don't know if you'll ever watch it, maybe some of you have watched that. One of the most beautiful scenes there was when the mom told one of the daughters, who thought that she wasn't living her life very well, I see you. For me, at this point in my life, I'm beginning to realize that the best way that you can be loved by somebody is if they see you. They're not looking at you, not watching you according to their biases or their expectations of you, but when they see you. You know what I mean? Because in the end, people, seeing really is an act of love. And again, when I say love, I'm not referring to this sentimental thing that we go all over about. No. Love is the very thing that's going to bridge our gaps. Love is the very thing that's going to make our world now a lot less divided. Love is the very thing that you need so that you don't always have to be governed and commanded by your insecurities every single day. Seeing is a form of loving. Is it possible that when you look at yourself in the mirror, whether literal or metaphorical, that you can see yourself and not just watch yourself? Because love is about seeing the good in someone and reminding them of it when they are at their worst. I'm sure for many of you, this is easy to do with your friends. I think us Filipinos, most of us are culturally people pleasers. We love other people, but we fail to do the same to ourselves. And I'm not saying don't love other people. I mean, that's amazing. Keep doing that. But is it possible for us to include ourselves in the list of people we love and we see? Why do we exempt ourselves from the list of people we love and see? Because that's the thing about love, everyone. Love is a celebration in easy times and a necessity in hard times. But guess what? You need it all the time. That's how we're going to bridge our gaps. That's why that's my invitation for you in this short message I shared with you. Can you take a little bit more time to see yourself rather than just watch yourself? Because if you've been living your life recently just watching and watching and watching yourself, no wonder you feel so tired and burned out. But try to approach it with a seeing mentality. And while life will not be any less harder, it might be more fulfilling for you. So again, let me ask you, how have you been looking at yourself lately? Do you watch yourself or do you see yourself? And the way you look at yourself will tend to be the way that you look at other people too. So I don't know about you, but I hope that the version of me now, giving this TED Talk, would look at the version of me many years ago, insecure, happy in an unstable way, but ultimately unsure about life. I hope the version of me now can see this version and say, you are worth loving. You are worth connecting to. Maybe today will be the first day of you building yourself towards the person who will show your current self that it's okay. You're worth loving. You're worth seeing. Thank you.